What's going on, everybody? Sorry I'm late here. See if we can't get some dungeon defending going on here. Redline, Gabriel, Oliver, Siegfried, what up, Joshua, Zion Supreme, Big Bro, Mordecai, Ben Boy Gamer, what's up, everybody? Summer Smith, hello. Anyway, Frostfire Remnants is back in town, y'all. For those who are unsure of what it is, it's that splody goodness that you see left on the ground. In addition to that, that particular map is the best XP per hour farming spot. Plus, you're going to earn reroll tokens for farming it as well. And then just lots of good loot. So definitely a good farm spot. Yeah, I got mail. It's stuff I can't use. So it just sits there in case somehow they ever open up another vault tab or another inventory spot, which I know will never happen. But that's what my mail is for anybody that's curious. Yep, I'm on US West there, Pest. Feel free to hop on and join me. I am firing it up right now. And I only got about 90 minutes today, y'all. Let me check my gear real quick, make sure I'm set for it. I'm not. We can do some switcheroos here. How do we want to switcheroo it? We want to borrow this? Let's do that. Let's borrow this relic. And we'll put this relic here. That'll give us tenacity for the freezy freeze. Defense rate is good. Yeah, I think that's it. Do I have, yeah, I got a destructive going on my lightning, so we're good there. Won't need a boost. Anyway, let's get it, y'all. I can answer lots and lots of DD2 questions. There, Big Bro Mordecai. Just ask the question, man. Ask the question. You got you 8 out of 10 last night. Nice, Josh. That's the good thing about that mod is, you know, it doesn't, I mean, obviously you want a 10 out of 10, but it's really good at 1 out of 10, you know? It doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10. It can be any quality. Oh, I've got my little 2 o'clock thing I gotta do today there, Redline. I got stuff and things. I'm going to be live later on over on Twitch at about 4 p.m. Exclamation Twitch in chat. If anyone doesn't know where to follow me there, I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing yet, but that'll be coming up in about 3.5 hours. Gold is really, it's all about playing in a group and grinding expeditions, Jeremiah. Lady Orcs, the counter for Lady Orcs is stun. There, Big Bro Mordecai. So if you use some sort of stun in your build, it will counter the Lady Orc issues. We'll be able to spam this out pretty, with some pretty basic setups here. We don't need anything fancy for this. Thaden, what's up? I won't be able to get it done today, Thaden, but I think I'm finally going to try to get a Tower Defense Tuesday done on that Hypercharged Unboxed. I think I'm going to record it on PC, though. I'm not sure yet. Well, I mean, you can fill in the blanks, Redline, and I can just tell you that it's something that I am unable to talk about due to a non-disclosure agreement. So I can leave it at that, and then you can take a crazy guess at what I might be doing. How's that? Alright, I think we're good. Is there a way to make your Squire more tanky? Yeah, there's, you can stack health on them. There's lots of mods. that add to overall tankiness, from health to more armor. How much should you push Onslaught? You should push it as far as you can. If you're only at floor 30, you should definitely push farther. No doubt about it, Albert. Like, at a minimum, I would say I personally wouldn't do an AP reset without going to at least floor 70. And at 70, I would consider, like, the bare bones minimum. You'll end up regretting it down the line. I know it feels like when you're a brand new player just starting the game, it feels very difficult, but it's because you don't understand a lot of the systems yet. As you learn more about how to counter the enemies and how to counter the mutators in Onslaught, you're going to find it much, much easier, and you're going to regret that you didn't go further. And like I said, I understand. I had my first time in Onslaught too, and it was, you know, it could be quite the headache. But trust me that once you get a little bit more practice in on Onslaught and get it dialed in, you're going to be, 30 is going to be like AFK to you. You get Frostfire Remnants by doing this map, Summer. It's a guaranteed drop. All you have to do is beat this map, Drakenfrost Keep. It'll be here from now until next Monday night at midnight Eastern Time. So it's here for a week. And it's super good. It's like a game changer for many, many players. Who we got here? We got Alchemist, Bacardi, and Chill. Very nice. Who is that in the middle? Is that Alchemist? No, that's Bacardi. I like that AP icon, the one with the little horns, like. I think my AP icon looks just terrible. I've still got regrets for stopping at 65 just because of the icon. I can't stand mine. But I can't reset now without, like, going ham, you know? I can't start doing more resets now. Yeah, exclamation FA in chat there, Siegfried. This map, I took my Reflect Beam relic off and put it on it. Remember that the setup that you use is not permanent. You can move it around. And that's what I did right at the start of the stream. If you roll back to the beginning of the stream, I took my Reflect Beam relic off and put it on my Flame Aura so that I would have tenacity on it. And that makes it so that we don't have to light these braziers. We can just ignore the dragon freeze, basically. I wish DD2 was crossplay too. In fact, I think if DD2 would have been crossplay, it would have been way more successful. At a minimum, cross-save. They haven't given a specific date yet, random. They're just saying Q3 on the Switch, and then PC and Xbox after that. So they haven't given any specifics. Well, thanks there, MD. I appreciate you watching, man. I love it. I mean, I love Dungeon Defenders games. Just action defense games. They really, really hit the mark for me. I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their favorite flavor of game, right? But action defense games in general just really, really hit the mark. I mean, I love tower defense anyway. You know, and then when the action element was added, it just really, I don't know. I mean, I can't get enough of it. I could play action defense games all day. What's going on there, Snow? It's crappy RNG. It's the same thing for all of us. Any 10 of 10 mods we find are all junk. It's never what you want. That would probably be a tooltip error there, Bacardi, if it's showing 45 mil. This is my first map there, Goldman, so I haven't even looked yet. I haven't played many of the StarCraft 2 tower defense mods, but I played Warcraft 3 pretty extensively. That's, I think, where the original love for tower defense came from. Was Warcraft 3 custom games. There's a tutorial on my channel already for the Barb. I don't really plan on doing any more tutorials for DD2, y'all. The game is done. It hasn't had a change in years. There's no more development coming for it. So, I mean, unless there's something that just gets heavily requested by a lot of people, I probably won't really do any more tutorials for DD2. I mean, I would just be remaking a video that's already been made, you know? And I don't want to be that guy. There's so many YouTube channels out there that redo previous content, and I don't want to be the guy who does that. No, no one has made it to floor 999 snow. There's a group of people that are trying, that are close. The Onslaught system is not... It's not very fun for me. I've gone over to floor 500, over floor 500, but the only reason I even went that far is because viewers were requesting it. The Onslaught system in DD2 is complete trash, in my opinion. I know that's not what people want to hear, but you got a game mode that drops half the loot, that is not rewarding in any way, and is only there just to encourage you to flex on people. It was like the first major downfall of the game, to be honest. You can track it back. When Onslaught launched, there was a huge spike in player base for like 3 weeks that instantly nosedived into the floor because people hated it. That's the thing that made Dungeon Defender's game special, is going for that loot, you know? If you don't have the loot, then the game loses its pizzazz. And Onslaught doesn't have the loot. No, I don't use Instagram. I've got an Instagram account that I don't log into but once a year or whatever. Well, thanks there, Andy. Appreciate you swinging by. Yeah, there will be a bunch coming. Oh, DD2's not going anywhere, MD. It's a free-to-play game. There's always going to be people playing it. And servers don't cost very much. Yeah, there's a huge chance I would stream DD1 again. In fact, I can almost guarantee it that at some point there will be another DD1 stream. Orcs Must Die 3 is upcoming. There's not very many action defense games, to be honest with you. You got the big three. The big three would be Orcs Must Die, Sanctum, and Dungeon Defenders. And Dungeon Defenders, of course, kind of rules the roost in that department. Fair point there, Random. I think it's, you know, we all know about the server challenges we've had there. We've had in DD2. OMD2 went under, but OMD1 and OMD2 were both pretty successful. OMD3 is supposed to be like OMD1 and 2. What made OMDU go under was the free-to-play model. It had no endgame replay value. And, I mean, I love those guys at Robot, don't get me wrong. I really, really hope that OMD3 is widely successful, but OMD2 was not very impressive. You know? Or not OMD2, pardon me, OMDU was not very impressive. Unchained. There's aspects of DD1 I like more, and there's aspects of DD2 I like more. Snow. They're both great games, though. DDA is $40. There, random gamer. It's pricey. There's no doubt. No crossplay right now. No crossplay at launch, but they're hoping to get crossplay in down the road. There is going to be cross saves though, which, like, for me is kind of a big deal. So I'll be able to play on any platform I want once they're all launched, and that's just awesome. I mean, I really wanted that for DD2, and they were unable to ever make it happen. Nah, you can't get DD1 on Xbox One, as far as I know. It is too much like DD1, there's no doubt, but saying it's a step back, you have to look at the big picture. The big picture is this is the first game. You got to remember, this is not the same company. You know, most people don't quite understand that, but Trendy no longer exists. They are gone. They weren't rebranded to Chromatic. They were purchased by Chromatic. DD1 is a great game, but I would suggest it on the PC. I don't think I would suggest... that was a different system altogether there, Turn, or Tum. The old Onslaught system, Floor 999, was the equivalent of Floor 255 now. There's no one that's done Floor 999 under the current system. Like I said, there's some guys, Random Person and Mugs and Fail are very, very close. I'm confident that they will hit 999, but they have yet to do it. What's the new weekly challenge? Let's see. Stun or knock up 200 enemies. That'll be easy. I think we all do Bacardi, but realism is realism, you know? We're not going to get any more updates for DD2. That's the sad and terrible truth. What's my Flame Aura DPS? Not much right now, because I don't have them set up for damage. They're set up for, let's see, here's a tier 1, 2.79. That's boosted, of course. They're set up for tenacity, so I can ignore the pylons. There's not yet, Calvin, but I'm hoping there will be. The challenge maps from DD1 have returned to DDA, most of them. We haven't seen them all yet, but remember the challenge in DD1 was, it was the Endless Spires challenge map, was an assault map. I'm hoping that makes it back. That was super fun. Because you have to pay attention to what's there. Remember that Onslaught and Expeditions are different. Expeditions, you know what's coming, the whole map. You could spam one thing, like this. I could spam this on every Chaos 7 Expedition and it's going to work on every single one. Onslaught is not like that. Onslaught, every lane is different. I killed the Wall of Flesh last night, Thaden, and then went and cracked a few altars and went to bed. So I'm just starting hard mode, right at the beginning of hard mode. The changes they made to it, I mean, I started right in journey mode, you know? God, it's so cheaty. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, even going master difficulty, journey mode is just so cheaty. Yeah, I'm gonna stream on Twitch at 4 p.m. Siegfried. That's really a matter of opinion there, Laria. I personally would buy the EV2 first, and the EV2 has very strong endgame builds, plus the EV2 can be super strong for progression when you're new to the game. I play Terraria now. I've played Terraria for years. I just haven't done a Terraria playthrough in a long time. They just had their big final update. So, I mean, literally everyone is playing Terraria right now. Everyone who has the game is playing it. Well, I mean, every character can deal high damage, and the CC aspect can be done on any of them. But yeah, I mean, the EV2 is a very strong character. Any tips for Prime 4? Use crowd control. The thing with all the Prime maps is there's no cyborgs, so you can spam it up right up at the spawn, and if you crowd control enemies there, you're going to have a much easier time. So either Electrocute or Petrify combos. EV2 is the cheesiest. You know what? It is, but it's one of those deals, you know? You know when you play a game and like your favorite character of the game gets some enormous buff that makes them ridiculously powerful? Well, that's what happened with me in the EV2. I mean, the EV is my favorite character in the game. There is no doubt about it. And she got some big old buffs that made her beast. And no matter how powerful it is, I can't get enough of it. The EV is just awesome, you know? See, that's the thing, is it's not really cheese. It's using in-game mechanics that are all working as intended. It's not using any sort of exploit or anything like that. That, and it doesn't make you invincible. That's a pretty open-ended question there, Oliver, but pretty much you could get through the game with the original 4 characters in the EV2. The legacy weapon manufacturer is nowhere near being required for anything. Thank you so much for subscribing there, Captain. I do appreciate it. Crap, I got the wrong, I got Twitch notifications up instead of YouTube. Oops. DDA will not have Onslaught. DDA doesn't have very many similarities to DD2. But you just have to understand where all that's coming from. You know, DDA is an effort for Chromatic to get a game like more like DD1 out and about, and really to get it on to the Nintendo universe. No, I'm not a developer. I'm a individual private party. Thanks for subscribing there, Hot Zerio. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, y'all. I have no affiliation whatsoever with Trendy or Chromatic. I'm just addicted to their games. Just like many of you all. Yeah, Massacre will be there on launch day for DDA. Chromatic doesn't really consult anyone. They take information from everyone in the community, but they do what they want to do. No one person in the community can impact Chromatic's decision making on anything, as it should be, really. It would kind of ruin the game if they were making the game just for one person, you know. I mean, you guys got to remember that they get the mix of it from me. I play their game an absolute ton. I absolutely love all Dungeon Defenders games. But they hear me bitch constantly too. I assure you, I am a pain in the butt of many of the devs. Just because I've got my complaints, just like all of y'all do. And I tell them about it. Yeah, it's an old casino term there, Redline. I worked in casinos for a long time. Onslaught floors is how you get your Ascension up coolly. That's why you climb as high as you can in Onslaught before ever resetting. The higher you go on Onslaught floors, the more your minimum Ascension. You only have to do it once, remember? Once to get the high minimum Ascension, and then get all your AP resets done. That's why I suggest no one ever AP reset below, at a minimum, level 70, you know? If you go at least to floor 70, your AP resets are going to be super, super smooth. But you want to go as high as you can. Really, I mean, you should go until you're not having fun anymore. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but before you start any ancient power resets, as you're preparing for it, like literally the best thing you could do is push until it's literally no fun anymore. Push as absolute as high as you can, and then do all your AP resets. And you only have to do that push once. And then after you do all your AP resets, then you can decide if you want to do it again with all your newfound power, you know? Just keep grinding there, Clark. They're in there. It's just the nature of RNG. We never get what we want when we're looking for it. Getting through the base game's progression, remember, is all about countering enemies. Like, if you go into Chaos 2 with a build like this, you're gonna lose. Now, the basic building blocks of the game is shards, and as Dan mentioned there, defense rate, destruction, and deadly strikes is kind of the big three as far as shards. You can literally put those 3 shards on just about every defense in the game and they'll work. Oh, RNG knows, Dark Wolf. RNG knows. You can get higher there, Cooley. It's just a matter of using good, taking advantage of the elemental combos, using quality setups with having the right shards. Yeah, you want to do it in Chaos 7. The only difference to that is if you're like super stacked up end game and you're very comfortable with the maps, it would probably be slightly more rewarding if you didn't need the XP to do it on floor 89 instead. What's going on there, Geek? I see you slipping in there. Grats on number 1 on the Xbox, man. Geek Illustrator hit what, floor 948 was it? Grats to you, dude. Vampiric Empowerment. Rate is a necessity. Vampiric Empowerment is not. In fact, you get very little gain from it. So, I mean, you use Destruction, Deadly Strikes, and Defense Rate. That's the big 3. If you want to fit Mass Destruction in with it, then you would either replace your Destruction with Mass Destruction, or you'd get a Defense Rate mod that allowed you to get to the cap, which would be 10 to 10 Chaos 8, and then replaced your Defense Rate Shard. And then you would use Destruction, Mass Destruction. Ricky, thank you so much. I do appreciate it a ton. going on there, Turg? Need a break before 9:49, just want to enjoy the game for a bit, play C7s? Well, I mean, it's got the right word in it, you know? If you're enjoying it and you're having fun, then you're doing it right. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Dan. Wow, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Need help fine-tuning anti-frost for floor 400? Well, you would want to overcap your rate, meaning you'd want your combined defense rate to get up to 100%. And then you'd want anti-frost and anti-melee. I use anti-frost and anti-orc, but I don't use that because I think anti-orc is better. I use that because at the time, I had a truckload of anti-orc mods sitting in my inventory. But remember, orcs are melee, and then melee would also hit all of the other frost melee mobs. But yeah, if you overcap the rate to 100%, then go anti-frost and anti-melee, and then wreck it out. This account's got like, I think close to 9,000 on it. I've got a bunch of accounts in DD2. Remember, I've been playing DD2 for a lot of years. I mean, I played it exclusively on the PlayStation for a year. You know? It was just a long time ago. I've got probably, I don't know, well, I've got an alt account with 1200 Ascension. I've got another alt account with like 800 Ascension. I got my PlayStation account that I played for about a year, so that's probably got about 1,000 hours in it. And I got my Xbox account, which is just probably a few hundred hours. If I didn't answer it, then I must have missed it there, Casey. Sorry. I'm not going to scroll back and look for it, though. You can ask again if you want. I do apologize. I probably, if I add them all together, I probably got about, I'm guessing probably around 12,000 hours. Alright, let's go back and check out the loot. See what we got. Well, I mean, by putting tenacity, you're instantly going against it being a defense specifically for frost enemies. How to kill the Drakenlord? You use the easiest way is the Burning Strike shard, but you can use any form of ignite. I would never ever consider putting automation on it in the replace of destruction, personally. I would never even, that thought would not even come close to entering my mind. You would be giving up so much just to be able to use that in an improper manner. But remember, automation and tenacity have nothing to do with frost mobs. So, by going with automation or tenacity on a defense that's set up for frost defense, you are automatically turning that into a defense that is not a frost defense. It is a general use setup after that. No. I mean, there's no reason for it to cost 240 DU. I can show you what my frost lands look like right now. This right here is what I would normally do in a frost lane. And then I'm not going to bust them out unless I have them in a deck. Well, let's see. This right here alone will work up to floor 500. Just that right there. That's your frost lane. Always use fire damage because you got double damage. I've got an overcapped Fisher. Actually, I'm using the relic somewhere else right now, apparently. But normally I would have an overcapped Fisher with anti-frost and anti-melee on it. And that's it. That's your frost lane. The only thing that will even come close to making it through that is Frost Orcs. But I've got my Fishers overcapped. Well, Frost mobs are immune to slow. You can stun them, but they're immune to slow. So you can't slow them. Let's see what we got. Did we get anything good? If I get a 10 out of 10 here today, y'all, I'll just give it away to whoever is the first to buy it in tavern. Or in town. I'm due. I think I am due. Nothing there. Oof. Nothing good there either. Another option there is you go with you can do like the 1 amp setup. So if you get a boost and you get your reflect beam, and then you get your Proton. Remember, your Proton won't slow, but it will still petrify the enemies. And then you can add in your anti-frost flame auras. What do we got right there? There's 240 DU, but this like takes it to AFK level. You know? Now you would have to shave DU off of other lanes, of course, to do that. But I mean, that would like be full on AFK. Yep, the tip on Onslaught is go slow, read what's coming, build the proper defenses. The people that have a problem in Onslaught is because they go in and they don't look at the setup. They don't look at what's coming. They just go and they throw the same thing down on every lane that they use on every map, and that is how you're going to fail unless you've got a full endgame set up for it. So we'll just assume that this is, say, Onslaught floor 50, and I'll show you kind of what I would do to set this map up. Automation doesn't affect the frost mobs, Dan, is the thing. It's not going to make it so that your defenses don't freeze. Frost orcs have a different effect. So, okay, here's our lanes. So, we got winners here, proximity and power block. Okay, so they're frost mobs, which automatically indicate you want fire damage on the lane, right? You got proximity. The closer a source of damage is to an enemy, the more damage it deals. So, this lane, we would be set up perfectly with just using the spam, the flame aura spam. We got nothing special on that lane to worry about. So literally any setup, obviously that's not a full setup, but any setup that features fire damage and features overcapped rate is going to beat that lane. Okay, now let's move on. Mob gallery. We got some frost mobs, but we've also got long shot and pile it on. What's long shot mean? It means don't do what I just did. These defenses are going to be very, very close. So why would I want to do that? Instead, you'd want to use towers. So you'd want to come back down, put some towers in that are farther away from the enemy, and then try to incorporate some fire in there to make up for the frosties. Pile it on. Enemies take increased damage per condition they are under. Well, you got 2 towers that are basically free condition. The Poison Dart Tower and the Frostbite Tower. Putting a Poison Dart Tower and a Frostbite Tower in combination with anything else on this lane is going to make your defenses hit 50% harder against every mob in this lane. Okay, let's move on. Throwers and healers, that's kind of an easy peasy lane. Armored. Armored is the main mutator here. Enemies take reduced physical damage and increased magic damage. So you would not want to use any physical damage and only use magic damage. Don't do anything else. Just use magic damage. If it said enemies take reduced magic damage and increased physical damage, then you would not use any magic damage and just use physical damage. Alright, Geek, take it easy. Thanks for swinging by, man. Congrats again. Game Ogre with maximum effort. Enemies have more health but get weaker with each unique source of damage that hits it. What's that mean? That means have many different unique sources of damage hitting the ogres, and each one is going to lower the amount of health. And then up here, Orcish Horde. Well, we got Cyborgs. Cyborgs right out of the gates means don't use traps, auras, or nodes. So if you don't have an endgame modded setup and you come down here and you try to throw down traps, auras, and nodes, you're gonna lose. Period. It's just how it is. So you have to look at each individual lane and treat it completely differently, as if it's its own lane altogether. You got a water servo, you're going to want a storm servo on something else there, Turg. But yeah, anyway, that's the game 100%. The entire game can be summed up with 2 words. Hard counters. If you counter the counter, you win the game. So how you decide to counter the enemies are up to you, but the game is built 100% off of countering enemies. So counter the enemies that are there, win the game. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. Plus grind. The grind, I think, is to be expected, though. Exactly, it's rock, paper, scissors. That was what Light Rain used to always refer to it as. But it's exactly rock, paper, scissors. You counter the enemy, you win. Alright. Let's go get a Frostfire, for God's sakes. Needs a 10 out of 10. You could go without either of those, Clerk. So get whoever you want to get, who you think looks the coolest, but you could literally go through the majority of Onslaught without either of those heroes. I don't really use slimes, Captain. If I was to use slimes, I would use the exact same thing I do on every other defense. So what are the rules of building a proper defense? First off, you get to the speed cap. Number 1 priority. Defense rate is the most important thing. So get to the speed cap of the defense. Then you find the range you're happy about. Well, slimes happen to have enormous natural range, so you don't really have to worry too much about more range on slimes. And in fact, range will actually hurt them because it makes them travel further. So slimes have the unique opportunity that allows you just to stack more power. So rule number 1, get to the speed cap. Rule number 2, stack as much power as you can. What I mean by that is anti-mods, you know, if you decide to do an elemental combo with them, slimes can be attuned. But every defense in the game would follow those same rules. Like if I decided just to do a map with slimes right now, all I would do is grab my Flamar relic and move it over to slimes and do the exact same thing. You know, that's what I personally would do. So, I mean, if I was to switch over and start using slimes right now, I'd just throw that on it. and call it good. You know? Remember, when you set a defense up, it's not, I just mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, but if you want to experiment with different things, move your stuff around. There's no rule saying if you set this item up for a reflect beam that it has to stay on your reflect beam. Move it around, have fun with it, you know? Play around with different stuff. Onslaught is nowhere near the best for farming loot, Dan. I would disagree with you 100%. You get half the amount of loot. The only benefit you get is the tokens, yet if you're token farming, you can do expeditions, and like, you could get 2 to 3 expeditions done in the time it would take to get 1 Onslaught done in most cases. So I would disagree with you 1,000 times over. It's not as much gold, it's not as much loot, it's not as much XP, but you get some reroll tokens. So, I mean, you have to decide what you want. You gotta realize normal loot for Onslaught is about half of expeditions. So, I mean, you do what you're having fun with and what you need, but I would just 100% disagree with you there. Onslaught is not the place for farming literally anything. Onslaught is the place for farming Ascension. You know, before an AP reset. Get those floors climbed. I mean, just other than having a full-on endgame setup, if you have a full-on endgame setup, you can farm anything you want. But shy of having a full-on endgame setup, Onslaughts are just going to take you twice as long to run. That's just truth, you know? Well, if you're OP, what are you farming for? Play something else. Is what I would say to you then, Dad. You beat the game if you're OP. Try a new game, dude. Your farm is over. That's the goal. Get to OP, right? Once you get to OP, I mean, there's no other purpose. Well, I mean, if that motivates you, then that's great. Go for it. Have at it. But for the other 99.9% of the player base that are not at all motivated by doing Onslaught mode, it's kind of a dead game mode, you know? Yeah, 999 is the highest you can go. No one's ever made it. Marcos made it in the old system, but that's not close. It's actually more time. What Marcos did is still an impressive feat, just because it's a massive time grind. But as far as difficulty goes, it's not even close to what we have now. The old floor 999 is the new floor 255. I'll have at it, Dan. I'm not saying you can't make it. I'm saying I personally wouldn't want to. I'd rather play something else. I've got a big fun rule. If a game is just not fun, I just don't play it. And Onslaught is just not fun. There's no prize, you know? If there was a prize, then yeah. If like there was some super special loot that only drops an Onslaught that is actually good, other than the dumb little cosmetic weapons, I'd be all over it. But it's just not, you know? But I'm motivated by different, you know, my motivations might be different than your motivations. So if you're having fun, then that meets the #1 rule. You know, enjoying yourself is the rule. Well, see, that's the problem, Redline, is there just is no rewards. If there was a staff that shoots corgi heads, that'd be a reason to want to do it, right? But there's not. I mean, maybe there is. We don't know in the old system. But that's the thing. You don't get any stronger in Tassa for doing Onslaught is the deal. You get more understanding of the game, but you don't get any stronger. That's a big misconception among people, is that Onslaught gear is better, and Onslaught gear is not better. Onslaught floor 900 drops the same exact quality gear that Chaos 7 Expeditions do. Onslaught floor 900 drops the exact same quality gear as Onslaught floor 32. I mean, just that alone to me is a big bummer, but that's me. And like I said, we've all got our motivations for playing the game. The right answer is, if it's fun, do it. If it's not, don't. I mean, you can boil every gaming experience that you have down to that. Chaos 8 amps are actually, it's much quicker to farm those in Prime Incursions now. I mean, if you're looking for amps, just grind Demon's Lair Prime Incursion and you'll have a truckload of amps in no time. And you'll be doing 3-minute maps, not 30-minute maps, you know? Well, the upgrade levels keep going up until floor 32, but gear caps out at floor 28. Turg. You're getting Chaos 7 gear in floor 28. Now, it's not fully upgraded Chaos 7 gear. But, yeah, I mean, Onslaught is just, it is what it is. If you like it, then do it. You know, really, you should apply that to every game that you play. Die, Mr. Roller. Your first 60 would be required, Redline. Actually, you could say your first 150 probably. Well, actually 170 would make life pretty easy. You don't need a bunch of AP to farm the Prime Incursions. I mean, there's quite a few people doing it in Chaos 7 stuff with low AP. I don't watch anime now. I mean, I don't watch much anime. I should qualify that. I have watched some. Oh no, as far as AP resets, I thought you said Ascension points. You don't need any AP resets to farm Prime Incursions. Any of them. I thought you meant Ascension. Sorry. The coffee's still flowing, Redline. Thanks there, Bogdan. I appreciate it. Just getting a little Frostfire Remnants going there, Seth. It's Frostfire week. I'll probably always dip back in and farm a little Frostfire on Frostfire week. If you've got a decent build, you really don't need anything. Beaumont did a bunch of videos of that. No AP and C7 gear. I thought he did. I think he may have used a little bit of cheddar too, but I mean, it's more about having a sound build. The thing with primes, remember, is the mob difficulty goes way back up, but there's no mutators and there's no cyborgs. Just having no mutators and no cyborgs makes any map so much easier, you know? And then it's a matter of just getting the build down and getting your rotation down. I don't suggest, well, if you're using the true 1 amp setup, you don't put tenacity on the proton beam, Captain. The reason I have tenacity on the proton beam is a 10 out of 10 tenacity is a pain in the ass to get, and it was there before I started using that setup, so I wasn't going to change it. I'm not going to throw a 10 out of 10 tenacity away. The counter against cyborgs is don't use traps, auras, or nodes is the natural counter. Cyborgs disable traps, auras, and nodes, so if you don't use traps, auras, and nodes, cyborgs have nothing to disable and they're just a fancy looking orc. Fancy orc. No, if you don't have the old legacy setup, weapon mans are not really worth using now, sadly, Turg, other than to apply an element. They're still the best in the game as far as blanket application of an element. Like if you want to use an elemental combo and you want a way to get a whole pack of enemies poisoned, you could throw poison on a weapon man and throw it out front there. But it's not what it used to be, and you can't combine the OP combo anymore. Several, really. Combat Pickle. This map is probably the best farm map in the game for most people, because it gives you Chaos 7 Expedition quality of gold amounts, but it gives you the most XP per hour in the game. But in addition to that, you get reroll tokens as well. I went over it all in the video. I would use... I don't even know what I'm using now on it. I would use another anti-mod controller servo, maybe. Shocking Revelations is not very good anymore. It requires being able to put water on it as well. The Diminishing Returns stack up. I mean, it's good early game, but early game you can really use anything. Once you start pushing into Onslaught, the Diminishing Returns stack up on it really, really quick. If you have the old Shocking Revelations and water set up, then it's still pretty good. Probably not till around the end of the year there, hockey player. Got a little ways to go, sadly. What do we got? I got about 25 more minutes. That's a few more runs. But yeah, Shocking Revelations took the ultimate nerf with when Diminishing Returns were added into the game, because it hits so fast that it just stacks those Diminishing Returns up and mobs just end up walking through it. Any healthy mobs at all just walk through it once you start pushing a little. I love weapon mans too. It's such a shame. I've got a legacy relic, but I will never use it. I just won't use something that a new player can't use today. Yeah, but it's bad, Cooley. It's not very good. You can do it, but it's like a shadow of a legacy weapon man. It's nowhere near as effective as using a Petrify combo with Protons and Reflect. You have to upgrade them past that point. Zion. What's going on there, Dizzy? Oh, I agree. In Tassa, it's not needed at all. It's still good, but it's not needed. I mean, Petrify works fantastic, and Reflect Beams just hit like a truck, you know? I normally do 3 runs before I change groups, so it depends on how many runs it's been. I'm sure there will be time for one more, though. One more group. Oh, certain. I am very curious to see what kind of shape DDA launches in. It's going to depend on the setup. Bees are really good. The problem is they've just got inherent issues with their AI. You can't have more than 3 bees attacking one target. So, say you got a game ogre lane, you know, and you put, there's only 1 ogre left, and you got 3 bees sitting here in the lane. Only 3 of those 9 bees are going to do anything. The other 6 are just going to sit there. Which is kind of unfortunate, but... Oh yeah, it's getting close. What's today? Today's the 19th. Today's my son's birthday. Better call the brat and say happy birthday, huh? So yeah, it's what, 9 days away? I am very curious to see how that game launches. Wonder what he's doing today. He's probably just gonna go out and drink with his buddies, I would guess. I'm not sure. He's still got that whole Navy group of people that he hangs out with. And that's all they do. Is go drink. Can I get the bot to have a countdown to launch on Discord? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that's it, Andrew. You don't need anything else. Burning Strike Shard is just OP for the whole challenge here. OP. Alright, let's see. How many maps was this? That was 2. So we'll do 1 more and then I'll start a new group. Use whatever defenses you want to, Turg. Just have them work in conjunction with each other. I mean, that 1 amp build is extremely powerful. It's a great starter build for you, and you don't need anything but the EV for that, and you've already got it. The Dryad's super fun, the Mystic's super fun. And they're well, the Mystic's towers, in my opinion, are more useful than the Dryad. Although the Dryads are super cool, they've just got really big AI limitations, which are just quite a bummer. How do you get Defender packs? You can get them from you get a free one from the Christmas tree every day. And then they're a chance to be in Onslaught victory chests. There's no date yet. Unleashed, it'll probably be around the end of the year. Well, I mean, that's any build that you put together is going to be a grind to get it together. Any fine-tuned build that you use, Captain, is going to require something. And that's about one of the cheapest high-end builds you can put together. You got to remember, first and foremost, Dungeon Defenders is a grind game. Every Dungeon Defenders game has been a grind game, and every Dungeon Defenders game will always be a grind game. So if you're not grinding, you're not going to get there. That's just how it is. No, sadly, with the developer no longer being existent, they don't hand out codes anymore. So it's quite a bummer not being able to get any codes out to you guys. But yep, the old head flare, sadly, there's no way to get it now. There's no more codes, and Chromatic doesn't give any. Well, I mean, like I said, Captain, it's back to the whole grind, you know. Do you want an end game setup? Well, to get an end game setup, you're gonna grind. You're gonna have to grind for it. That's what you do in any grind game. You don't have to kill the game. Just log out of it, Andrew. We'll have to look. I can't remember if I snagged a tree or not. But yeah, just completely log out of the game, log back in, and it'll change. Trendy is no longer, they're non-existent rival. They no longer exist. They are gone. They were purchased by the original owner of Trendy, who had previously been bought out by an investment company. And he decided to change the name of the company to Chromatic and create an entirely new company altogether instead of continuing on with Trendy. So Trendy doesn't exist anymore. Well, we need David to pop on there, Redline. Ping him in Discord. Tell him you want to hear his music, man. I'll auto-cue it if David pops up. Well, Chromatic still has control of it, but it is a Christmas tree, and it's May. So I don't know. I'm sure it'll go away eventually, but maybe not. Chromatic owns the rights to the game now. Thanks for subscribing there, Patrick. One of these days I'll probably do a video on the full politics of DD2, but I know it's not going to make the Chromatic people happy, and that's the only reason I haven't done one yet. But I've done a lot of research and looking into that stuff. Unleash the Heat, Zachary Sutton, thank you both for subscribing. Yep, it became the St. Patrick's tree, then the Easter tree, oh love. Now it's the summer solstice tree. Antonio Jaspy Boy, thank you both for subscribing as well. I appreciate it, y'all. What's going on there, Blind Faith? What up, what up? Guess I need to hit the button, huh? No, no more updates, Turg. I'm doing good there, Blind Faith. There's no updates planned, but as far as like anything that was promised to us as Chromatic, we've already gotten more than they promised. Like, we were never supposed to get Prime Incursions. That was an afterthought. Oh, it's I think it's D-Stang. Gilding your shards is nice. It's a big grind to gild your shards too, Endure. Gilding your shards is a big luxury. It's not required, but it is a big luxury. Nope, there's no way to get it other than if you can find somebody who had it drop naturally way back when and has never done anything to that relic to change it, then it would be tradable. So basically, I mean, that would be the most valuable thing in the game. If anyone has any, I'm pretty sure it would literally be the most valuable thing in the game. Rugus! He is properly harassed now. He may not notice. He's a busy guy. He's got a big family, and they're all on, you know, of course, everybody's on lockdown at home. I don't think old Dave has got much gaming in lately, sadly. Poor guy. If you want to try it out, just take two weapons that don't have don't bother modding them all up. Just find the base is the best way to try something. Don't get it all jacked up and dump a bunch of resources in it to try something out. You'd have to call yourself juice bags then. I do that way too often. I used to anyway. I'm not a big fan of the barb either. It depends on what your playstyle choice is. You know, if you like melee, then there's a good chance the barb could be your favorite character. If you prefer ranged characters, then the barb will never be your favorite character, you know. I'm just addicted to Dungeon Defenders games is all there, Dizzy. They're fun games. Every one of them. There's no wrong answer. Well, DDA is out for me. I've been playing it, Zach, so... And I'm playing DD2 here today. I mean, obviously, DD2 has nothing... There's nothing left for me to do in DD2. Literally, the only thing I could do in DD2 is try to go for floor 999. Which I'm completely unmotivated and not even remotely interested in. When will be the Onslaught stream push? There's probably 100 streams over the course of the last several years, Captain. I'm done with Onslaught. I don't really have any intentions to push any higher. In fact, I didn't have any intentions to push past floor 420. I was going to stay at 420 just for the memes, and ended up going to 500. We need a DD2 remake. Well, we do need a DD2 remake. But sadly, that's never going to happen. Well, I'll be able to answer that on the 28th there, Endure. I mean, right now, it's an early access game that has potential, but is far from perfect. But it launches on PC on May 28th, and I'll be doing a full review video. Seth just trolling me now. I see how you are, Seth. Oop, he's already dead. I'm looking around for him, waiting for him to spawn. Alright, y'all. Head to US West. I got one more group in me, and I got what? I got about 15 more minutes. So that's probably enough for 2 runs. I hope so too, Olav. I hope DD3 is completely different. And I don't want to see a single dang map from DD1 in it. $500. I don't even know what number I'm actually at. Let me look. What are my actual? My actual is 507. 506, I guess, as far as cleared. Alright, let's see what we got. Anything good? Nothing there. Remake Deeper Wells. Oof. No, Danny, no. No more Deeper Wells, damn it. Come on, 10 out of 10. I hate to jinx you guys like that. All I have to do is promise I'll give it away, and then no 10 out of 10s drop. Nothing. Dang. Six lanes, this Pew Ogres. Alright, y'all, last group here. RNG is RNG there, Captain. Nothing wrong with that. There's no correlation to mob quality in game mode, though. So don't think that it's in your better interest to farm Onslaught over Expeditions. In fact, it would be the exact opposite of that, especially with this map. This map sucks in Onslaught. I mean, the map doesn't suck. The mechanics sucks. If it's got shocking revelations and water on it, and it's never been tinkered, yeah, it would be worth a ton. By never being tinkered, meaning it's never been upgraded, it's never had any mod changes to it, basically nothing has been done to it. So if you've got an old one that's got shocking revelations and water servo on it, and nothing has literally ever been done to it, nothing at all, and it's still tradable, then it would be probably, at a minimum, I'd say 100 million gold. It would be worth a lot. Royal Gardens does indeed look a bit cold. That's what a lot of people don't... The remakes for DD2, with few exceptions, the maps were like remade. Most people that look at this don't see Royal Gardens until you look at the mini-map, and then you're like, oh, I see it now, you know? What's the fastest map for motes? Unholy Catacombs is a pretty good one, and then you get clusters as well. I think this map looks absolutely amazing. I mean, this is a pretty map. There's just no doubt. They did an incredible job on this map. Remake or not, they did a great job on it. Got that Game of Thrones thing going on, you know? The thing is in not just in Dungeon Defenders, but in any grind game, remember it's a grind game, meaning you're going to have to do the things a bazillion times in the game. So never just grind one thing. That's a remake too, Captain. That's Misty Mire. If you're familiar with DD1. 25% of all the maps in DD2 are all remakes of DD1. And a lot of people don't realize it, other than the obvious, like Magus Quarters or Molten Citadel, you know, Unholy Catacombs or Foundries and Forges. Those are like obvious remakes. But yeah, 1 out of every 4 of the maps in DD2 is a remake from DD1. Endless Spires is in there too. That one got a drastic makeover. Played the DD1 demo only? You should check it out. It's one of the greatest action defense games ever made. There, Captain. And still has things going on today on PC. Assuming you play on PC. Terraria map looks a bit misty, indeed. A bit Misty Mire. I'm doing good there, Keshin. How about you? Well, DD1 is... The thing about DD1 is they have a very, very devoted community. DD2 does as well. But the DD1 fans, you can see the devotion in DD1 just knowing that the game is like almost a decade old. And there's still just a very, very devoted community. There's a lot of people that have a lot of passion for that game. And they still do things. The community does things. You know, the community events and giveaways and contests are frequent. You know? It's awesome. It's just absolutely amazing to see. They just had one. I actually got one. I won one of the special prizes. I did a video on the channel about it. There was a Polly Wants a Kraken contest on who could farm up a ultimate quality Polly pet from the Buccaneer Bay map. And I grinded the crap out of it. But I got one of the special rewards. It's a big owl pet. It's massive. Oh, there's no doubt there, Goldman. That fire is crazy on that map. Super fun to play around with that toe roaster chip on the Lavamancer too. Well, I can look at it and tell you right away, Turg. If you screenshot it and send it to me, send me a PM on Discord or Twitter or whatever social media stuff you use. I can look at it and tell you instantly if it's tradable and give you estimated worth. DDA is heavily inspired by DD1, and they used a lot of the old assets, a lot of the old maps, so many people will consider it a remake. But it's got a brand new story that ties into the events of DD1 and DD2. It's got massacre mode, which is something that's never been in any Dungeon Defenders game. Nah, Chromatic doesn't give away the codes for DD2 anymore, Jake. Sadly, like Seth said. I mean, I would absolutely love to have a giveaway with the Juicy Head Flare, but sadly those days are long gone. It's been over a year since they gave me code for it. You don't like the look of DDA? I mean, if it's too much for you, don't play it. You know, you gotta remember it's designed... The intention of the game is to go on the Switch. That was the base intention of the game, so it's gotta be a game that's gonna run on Switch. What are some strats for Altar of the Athame? Build defenses that will hit the lanes and also hit the statues as well. Can help you out quite a bit. Using the bell and the potion are very beneficial. Like when that map first came out, how I used to do it, this was back way before anybody was powerful in DD2 at all. What I would do is, when I got the last book to activate the altar, before I activated the altar, I would run over and grab that potion of invulnerability. And that gives you what, like it's 30 seconds or whatever of completely invulnerable to the assassins. And then go hit the altar, and then it just allows you to freely burn the statue down. I don't know, Kragus. I mean, you would think, just following the natural route of the game, you would think there would be another tier, but I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see. you know? I haven't hit that Drakenlord yet today on all these maps. Everybody's just been nuking them. Here, I'll kill this one. Yeah, they all act individually, leave you, but they're expensive. Well, I mean, it's a gear-based game. Cassian. So yeah, I mean, it's challenging when you first break into a tier, but as you get the gear through that tier, it becomes easier and easier. It's 3 times damage, but you gotta remember that the damage is very little. The weapon manufacturer is not a very good damaging defense. Not being able to upgrade it is kind of a deal breaker. Just every defense out there is going to scale up higher than a weapon manufacturer. So most people that use it don't use multiple nodes. The only time you would want to use multiple nodes is if you're going with kind of the ghetto Electrocute setup with the water elemental shard. Multiple nodes will give you a greater chance of Electrocute, but they're really, really expensive and you don't get much damage out of them. Just got to remember what it is. Weapon mans are just not a big damaging defense. It's not going to kill the lane, you know. Did I already get that side? No. The easiest thing I would say for you to do is use elemental combos, Captain. If you set up a Petrify or an Electrocute combo, Petrify, of course, is poison and earth, and Electrocute is water and storm. Using the game's provided elemental combos is the premium form of crowd control in the game, really. Prime incursions are fun, and that, you know, what's the #1 requirement for playing any game? In my opinion, the #1 requirement should be it should be fun, and prime incursions are fun. So on that note, it definitely hits the mark. I'll upload it to Scored afterwards there, Redline. Yeah, that's a great combo. The problem is that you would kind of want them reversed, to be honest. The Electrocute requires the drench to be there, then the storm to hit it. So, like, if you reversed that and you used water on the weapon manufacturer and then you used storm on the Proton, it would effectively work a little bit better. The problem when you bring shocking revelations into the mix is the diminishing returns are going to stack up really, really fast, because all of those enemies that the weapon manufacturer hits that are not drenched yet, they're going to build diminishing returns for stun, and the Electrocute is a stun. So shocking revelations, it's just not what it used to be. It's just not. I use Petrify. Now, I used to use Electrocute, but I had a legacy relic that I no longer use. What makes a legacy relic so good is you combine both of the elements onto one defense. but I just won't use it knowing that a new player can't. I just don't feel good about it at all. So I actually have not used it since then at all. And sadly, that means I just don't use weapon manufacturers anymore, which are one of my favorite defenses. So it's quite the bummer. But I mean, you can look. And there it is. That is the Legacy Weapon Man relic, and I just do not use it. So, poor Weapon Mans. They're so cool looking with their shocky zappiness. But I just can't use them if a new player can't. Slimes lose their potential in the really high floors there, boss. I mean, you could make it a good way using slimes, but they're not going to be your go-to defense to get into the really high floors. They've got AI problems. Anything that has an AI problem is just not going to be what you're going to want to use. You know, defenses that have AI problems would be bees, slimes. It just so happens that the Dryad gets hit really hard with it. The bees have an AI problem, slimes have an AI problem, harpies have an AI problem. So, poor Dryad, you know? The Legacy, because it's a Mark II. Yeah, the Mark part doesn't, I don't really understand why people get so excited about Marks. Yeah. That's actually, I think Zombie Wookie did a really high floor with that combo, Captain. 2 Protons, 2 different Protons, one with water, one with storm. It's a great setup. Alright, y'all, I am actually past time here, so this will be the last map here. Sorry to cut it off on y'all, but I gotta do the stuff and things today. Yeah, the Nuke Monk is pretty ridiculous. There's no doubt there, Marco. Because PDT is already attuned. It's poison. As soon as poison became an actual element, the PDT was automatically attuned. Alright, Dan, take it easy. Thanks for swinging by, man. That's what I use, Cassio. Boosted Grasp, Destruction, and Deadly Strikes. That's a great combo. But that's the exact 3 I use. I think quite a few people use that setup. Well, I mean, the only requirement would be defense rate. Captain, you could use literally anything else. Remember, Protons aren't going to give you big damage. So although you can put the damaging shards on there, you would want the frosty beams on both of them for sure to give you the additional chance to freeze. So I would say defense rate, frosty beams, and probably destruction. Destruction's not going to give you a ton of value because you'd want another defense that's dishing out the big damage, you know? Come on, baddies, come on out and die already, would you? Well, thanks there, Cassian. Appreciate you watching. Dryad's awesome early game. She's super fun to play. She just loses her effectiveness later on. You know, remember when I say early game, I'm referring to like anything under, say, floor 2 or 300. I mean, if your goal is to get to floor 100, you can literally use any heroes in any defense. But if your goal is to push into the hundreds of floors, you're going to want to consider something different. Where's it going to be? I think he's going to be right here. Nope. He's down there. Or nope, he was right there. God dang it, I didn't even see him. I turned away too quick. Well, bees are physical damage. Are you putting bees on lanes that say don't use physical damage, Captain? That could be one of your big problems right there. You still have to build properly. You know, you can use any defense you want, but if you're going against what the game is telling you to do, then just don't expect it to go well, you know? What's going on, Jello? How you doing? You're here just in time for the end. I'm gonna look through the mods, see if there's anything good. Yeah, EV2 is great. Nothing wrong with using EV2 at all there, Cassio. Well, I mean, a frost mob equals fire damage. Bees are not fire damage. So if you got a frost lane, you want fire damage on that lane. If you don't have fire damage on a frost lane, then you didn't build for the counter, is what you have to think about. Alright, let's check it out. Let's check it out. What did we get? Not as much that time. Only, what, 2 maps? Come on, 10? Where you at? I haven't even looked at him. I don't really look at him if it's not a 10. There's a 2. See, I beat you already, Goldman. I got a 2 out of 10. Nothing. Well, no loot today, y'all. What a shame. Anyway, y'all, that is going to get it for now. I will be back around 4 o'clock-ish over on Twitch. It probably won't be exactly 4 o'clock p.m. PST. So that's just... Wow, it's 2 hours from right now. So yeah, maybe it may end up being like 4:30. We'll have to see. It'll be 4 o'clock-ish. Give or take 30 minutes. But anyway, that is going to get it for me for today. Thanks a ton for swinging by, y'all. Go get you some Frostfire. Even if you only play DD2 casually right now, this week is a incredibly good grind week for you. No doubt. No doubt about it. Well, I said fire damage, Captain. I didn't say flame aura. There's other things that hit with fire. Or anything that could be modded with a fire mod. But anyway, thanks a ton, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you all soon. Swing by Twitch in a couple of hours if y'all are available. See you then.